Yes, yes, yes. Welcome.
Well, hello there, everybody.
This is the Donkey Kong Country 2 Retro Review Crew.
Absolutely. Welcome, and thank you all for tuning in for our special here, our long-awaited Donkey Kong Country 2 Retro Review Crew. My name's Travis, and this is...
Matt. Yep. And this is our 5th episode.
That's right.
If I'm counting correctly, 5. Yep.
I believe so.
It's our first sequel.
Yes, that's
that
right.
we're reviewing, so that's kind of cool.
We're back with a vengeance.
We are. Donkey Kong Country 2. We scored Donkey Kong Country 1 very highly.
We did.
Yep.
An absolute classic.
This game had a lot to live up to in terms of that.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was a lot of fun. Took a while, but
yes,
yeah,
we went through. Yeah, a lot of fun. We went through and not only beat the game, but also got the 102% by getting all the secrets in the game, lost levels and hidden bosses and all that good stuff.
It was not easy.
It was not. It was definitely a lot of trial and error and a lot of repetition, but we got it.
Oh, yes, finally. Yeah, there was plenty of nights where we were stuck on a level for a couple times. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's where we'd start on one level and we'd 2-3 hours later we still wouldn't be done. We're like, we got to throw in the towel and come back another night.
Yep. Plenty of times.
Absolutely. A lot of cursing.
Oh gosh, yeah, no kidding. Especially me on this one. Like I was really comfortable with Donkey Kong Country 1, but 2, for me, for whatever reason, there was just levels on here where it just like made me pull my hair out.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things is because there's so much variety between a lot of stages. One thing that's different from this one, from the first Donkey Kong Country, is that I feel like there's a lot more just variety. That designers really went in a lot of different directions with it. So you get through some stages that felt a little more gimmicky than others, and those could be really frustrating.
Yeah. So, without really going into the details of the levels, what were some of the major changes that you're going to notice from 1 to 2?
Biggest changes right off the bat is that you no longer have Donkey Kong. He has been kidnapped, so you're working with Dixie and Diddy. Diddy pretty much plays the same as he did in the first game, but Dixie is very different. She does a lot more with her hair, whipping it around. So I think that's a big thing, is just getting used to the different Kongs right off the gate. Other things is there's a lot of different enemies, a lot of different stages and different bosses. Whereas things might have felt a little more linear in the first game, I feel like there's a lot more twists and turns in this one. You have different animal companions, different enemies, a lot of different things that way too. Both games did great with graphics and great with like the sound, some of those really catchy soundtracks.
Yes.
So those were similar. I think that this game is more difficult. And I think that this game has a lot of the secrets in this game are a lot easier to miss.
Yes.
And those secret levels that they have, too, that add a challenge even after you've beaten the game in different ways. So those are some of the main things that jump out at me. Right. What about you? What are some of the things that jump out at you as being different from Donkey Kong Country 1?
Yeah, so now the animal friends that you get now have different moves.
They do, yes.
Or at least they have one more move that they didn't have in the first game, like Rambi gets the charge and, he's really, Squawks is back, but he gets the nuts that he throws or whatever,
He actually can fight.
Actually can do something this time, at least. So that's kind of nice. You get your double team moves now.
Yes, that's a good one.
So with Dixie and Diddy, yep.
Yeah, those are useful, allowing you to hit enemies from a distance or just to get extra high.
Yes, and you'll need to use it obviously at some point. But
one thing that I was going to say too is that this game, it seems to be much more important with each character. So Dixie and Diddy are very useful for different things and for different secrets. Where in the first game, I can't think of any circumstances where you're like, I need Diddy for this secret or I need Donkey Kong for this specific secret.
Yeah, the one that I can only really think of, there wasn't a lot, but like Trick Track Track, when you get those Clubbas or the big Crusher guys, you can't do anything with Dixie.
That's true.
Diddy.
In that one.
So, but there wasn't a lot.
Right.
I feel like you could get through most levels with either one.
With this one, it's like if you don't have Dixie, sometimes it means you're not going to be able to get a secret, and you have to come back and get it later if you're trying to get the full 102%. Where as in the first game, that wasn't really the case, at least not as often.
Yes. Another difference is obviously to save your game now, you have to use banana coins.
Yes.
Which isn't too bad because they're pretty easily accessible.
Yeah. When you know where to find them, you can stock up on them pretty quickly, especially if it's a
Yes.
stage you've already beaten, because then you can do the start select trip to get out, come right back in without having to worry about putting yourself at the same amount of risk for lives.
The start select trick works just like it did in the first game.
Yeah.
That really hasn't changed. Another new thing they added was they added the DK coin. It's like an extra bonus that you can find. It's it does count towards the 102%, I should say. You also get the Kremlin coins.
Yes.
Which you'll need to complete the lost levels.
Yes, you got to pay those to the toll keeper.
To the toll, yep. Yep, that's a difference. Some of the things that they did get rid of, they got rid of the bonuses with the animal friends.
Yeah.
You don't get those anymore.
Which was kind of, in a way, it was kind of fun in the first one that I liked those. I can understand why they went away from them. But yeah, that's definitely a difference.
Yeah, you don't get the bonus mini games anymore.
Yeah, you don't pick up all those little coins and then get like the 3 matching kinds.
Yes.
And then takes you to that stage.
Right, or spell out like rare or Kong.
Right.
Or, you don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But really there's not too much. Some of the new, we'll go over the Kongs, but those are some of the key, main differences I can really think of.
Yeah.
Bonuses are pretty similar, so.
Yeah, you still get you collect 100 bananas, you still get an extra life that way.
Yes.
There's still balloons that you can find that give you extra lives as well.
Yes.
So there's a lot more, a lot of things that are consistent from the first game, and then of course, like we were mentioning, some things that take you in a little different direction,
little different path.
They keep it fresh.
Yes. So obviously, the success of the first game was just phenomenal. Like rave reviews, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
The second game came out really fast, and this came out in '95, like a year after. So, what was your history with this game when it originally came out?
Well, the funny thing about Donkey Kong Country 1 is I got that for Christmas one year. Played it, loved it. I never owned Donkey Kong Country 2, which is funny to me because I had a lot of friends that did, and they'd come over and bring it over, and they'd play around on a lot, and I just kind of watched because I was like not sure how to be good with it. I was still like at this point, it's like it had been a while since I played in the first one.
Yeah,
but I was watched a lot, and so when we were coming back and playing this together now for the retro review crew, it was really a lot like learning, kind of jumping in all over again. Luckily, all of the experience that we had with the first Donkey Kong Country helped me feel a lot more prepared for this than I would have otherwise.
Yeah.
Because this definitely takes things up a notch. So I played it here and there when I was a kid, but not much. So this was not just an experience of playing a game that is really good, and a game that I was familiar with, but a game that I had always wanted to play and wanted to get more into. So this was kind of like that to me. It was going back to a genre that I was familiar with, but taking it up a notch.
Oh, sure.
How about you?
Sure. So, like Donkey Kong Country 1, I was able to get Donkey Kong Country 2, but I don't believe I got it at the release date. I remember getting this game in the summertime. I was definitely excited for it, but I think the loss of Donkey Kong, for whatever reason, I didn't get it right away. I don't know why, but
that's a good point, because I honestly think that bugged me a little bit too, because I was always a Donkey Kong fan.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, oh, Diddy's cool, but then when they brought Dixie in, I'm like, that's cool, and then I'm like, but you took Donkey out.
Yes,
I got problems with that.
Yes, that was, and as weird as it seems, that was a big reason why I didn't just jump out to get this game right away.
Right,
but I ended up getting it because I liked Diddy, obviously, so it was enough for me to buy.
Right.
Regardless, we'll get into Donkey Kong 3 eventually, and we can talk about that. But But 2, it took me a little longer to buy than 1 did. I think I got 1 on the release, but this I waited a little bit, mainly because I just beaten 1, and this game came out pretty quickly. After that,
I was gonna say, they didn't. You didn't make you wait 3 years or something between games. This was I think you said within a year, maybe a little bit over. I'm not sure.
It actually came out November 21st, 1995. So I definitely did not get it. I want to say like the earliest I got it was like April or May of '96.
Yeah.
So
which when you're a kid, that feels like an eternity apart from that.
It does. Yep. Yep.
Nowadays, it doesn't feel like that big of a difference, but at that time, that would have been definitely feel like an extra bit when you're at that age and you're, working with your selection of video games you have then.
Yes.
If you're like me, you'd have like, 7 or 8 games for the Super Nintendo, and then you'd get a new one, maybe your birthday, maybe 1 or 2 your birthday, maybe a couple on Christmas. But that was really the times when you got new games.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
So you had to pick your spots, kind of.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean,
you didn't want to get a dud.
'96, you had like Mortal Kombat was huge. Like I remember getting Mortal Kombat 3 was one of my big ones.
That was a big one.
So I mean, I had to wait a little bit on this one, but we eventually got it, and we'll get into it. But it's all right. So that's our history with this game. I do want to say though, I did beat the main storyline when I was a kid.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did beat the main storyline.
Very good.
Never beat what we did.
Yeah.
It wasn't
all
even
the
close. So, yeah. I mean, I remember thinking this game was tough back then, but it was definitely challenging. That's all I can really say about it. But all right, so here's the main story for Donkey Kong Country 2. Trouble in Paradise, just like the first one.
That's right.
All right. Donkey Kong gulped down the last of his banana milkshake and sighed happily, his old beach chair creaking as he wriggled his toes in the sand. This is the life, he thought to himself. The sun beating down on a clear blue sea and no pesky banana thieving Kremlins to worry about. Lazily, he raised a hand to wave at Funky, who was showing off his surfing expertise out on the waves with the squawking seagulls. Donkey Kong settled back and closed his eyes, thinking he'd have a little doze, when he heard the sound of shuffling feet. Before he knew what was happening, Cranky Kong bopped him on the head with his cane. "Youch!" he exclaimed, glaring at the snickering old ape standing in front of him. "Well, well," said Cranky, "what do you think you're doing sitting around all day? They won't get much of a game out of this, will they? I thought you were supposed to be a big star." "Even stars get time off," muttered Donkey Kong, rubbing his head. "I never did," said Cranky proudly. Whisking off maidens and throwing barrels around the place 7 days a week, I was. That's how I got where I am today. Hard work. None of this lazing around on the beach." "Why don't you go off and pester Diddy or something?" complained Donkey Kong. "Let me have a bit of peace for once." Cranky snorted. "Ha! He's off somewhere with that girlfriend of his, but still, I can see when I'm not wanted." Grumbling to himself, Cranky shambled off down the beach, leaving Donkey Kong to pull his hat over his eyes, sink down into his beach chair, and slowly drift to sleep. When night fell and their big buddy still hadn't returned, Diddy and Dixie Kong got worried and went to look for him. As they reached the beach, they saw hundreds of strange-looking footprints that led from the sea to form a big circle around the spot where Donkey Kong's chair lay smashed to pieces. "Kremlings!" Diddy gasped in horror. On top of the bites of chair, they found a note. "To the yellow-bellied, land-lubbing Kong family, har har, we got the big monkey. If you want him back, you scurvy dogs, you'll have to hand over the banana horde. Captain K. Rule." "Got any better ideas, you young whippersnapper?" demanded the old ape. "We've got to rescue him, of course," said Diddy and Dixie together, but Cranky just laughed. "Oh, really? And who is we? Count me out, dude," said Funky, quickly backing away from the group. "I hate adventures." "I think I'm a bit old for that sort of thing," said Wrinkly apologetically. "And I'm sure as Spit not gonna do it." "Sure as Spit is not gonna do it," snapped Cranky. "Not that I'm past my prime, mind you. I could still do a better job than the rest of you put together, but I wouldn't be seen dead in a game that scrolls and has bonus levels and end bosses." "What about me?" asked Diddy, stomping his foot. "I went with Donkey on his last adventure. Why can't I do it?" "You?" laughed Cranky. you've only been in one game and you didn't even get your name in the title. You think that makes you a hero? Diddy looked discouraged, but Dixie was quick to stand up for him. Give him a chance. He could be a better hero than you were ever were, she challenged.
Snap.
Cranky scowled. You think so, do you? You think he can make his way through all those Kremlings and all those traps all by himself? He won't be by himself, she replied. I'm going with him. Diddy stared at her, and she stared defiantly back. But it's dangerous, he protested. You're not scared, are you? Of course I'm not. Well, neither am I. Don't try to argue. If you're going, I'm going with you. Diddy sighed. He knew a hopeless argument when he saw one, but still he was Donkey's only hope. Of course, if he managed to rescue his big buddy, he'd become a real video game hero, too. Cool. Could he ask for a better chance to prove himself? Cranky was looking them over shrewdly. All right, he said. If you somehow get back safely from this and bring back that good-for-nothing donkey with you, I'll admit that maybe you have what it takes after all. But if you don't, there will never be more than cheap cameo roles for you in the future, my boy. Diddy stood up straight and proud, ready for his new quest. I'll bring him back, you'll see, he declared. The others offered him encouragement. Wrinkly gave him a warm smile while Funky offered his hand for a high five. Go for it, little dude. And as soon as the sun rose again, the brave young pair set out. I just want to I did miss a little bit of a paragraph after Donkey got kidnapped. I'll just read that real quick.
Oh, sure.
I thought we'd seen the last of that old rascal for a while, sighed Wrinkly Kong. Cranky's good-natured old wife when the rest of the family had read the ransom note. Well, grunted Cranky, I suppose we better give him the bananas, hadn't we? Diddy was shocked. After all we did to get him back last time, Donkey Kong would go crazy if he lost his bananas again.
Yes, he'd be going bananas.
Yes. So, yeah, so that's the storyline for this one. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But as we said, you know, you get your Diddy, you get your Dixie.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, yeah, I guess we could go over. So we got the different treasures. We got the Cranky's video game hero coins.
Yes, that's
That's
right.
what the DK coins are. We got the banana bunch coin, which you'll need to save your game.
Mm-hmm.
We got the crumb coins, which you'll need to get to the lost levels.
Yes.
So there's that.
And at first, when I started playing, I remember seeing all these different coins and being a little confused. And like, what are all these different ones for? But after a while, that starts to all make sense.
Yes. So now you get your bananas and banana bunches, just like you did last time.
Yep.
You get the no animal sign, which you'll get usually like a coin or a banana or an extra life if you can make your animal to that point. Crates. You'll find them. Hot air balloons. You get animal crates. You get treasure chests, which will sometimes have cannonballs or extra lives.
Those coins are, letters.
Extra life balloons are the same as the first one.
Yes, you have the three different colors. Red for one level, or one up. I believe it's green for 2, and then blue for 3 extra lives.
Yes. And then you get your, like we said, cannonballs. Then you get your end-of-the-level targets, which is new.
Yes.
We did not have that. You still get your Kong letters, but the end-of-the-level target, it's different because you get a prize, basically, at the end of the level, which you did not get at the first one.
Right.
So,
and timing can get you different things.
Yes. Cranky just had to write a comment about the swag. I've never seen so much worthless rubbish. I'm surprised they don't give you a special trash barrel to haul it all around in.
Maybe they saved that for the third game. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you get a bunch of different looking barrels now. You get your regular barrels, same. You get your bonus barrel, which you'll find those in levels. You get your plus and minus barrels, which is very interesting. Yeah, that's usually only one time when you're on the roller coaster. You get your check and X barrels, your barrel cannons. You get your steerable barrel, which is interesting. You didn't get that in the first one.
Right. I think those are like in the fiery furnace stage, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
To allow you to actually move things around.
You get your rotable barrel, Diddy and Dixie barrel. Only one of whoever you have can only jump in their specific barrel.
Right. Which is like I kind of alluded to earlier, how some cases they want you to have one Kong or the other.
Yes.
So if you don't have the proper Kong for that, you're kind of out of luck until you come back and get them.
Yes. You get your TNT barrels are back again.
Yes.
Your DK barrels obviously are back again. Then you get your star barrels, which is interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
They're just the midway point. Sorry,
The checkpoint ones.
Yeah, checkpoints. Yep,
they're very important.
Yes. You get your exclamation point barrel, which basically gives you invincibility,
Yes.
which is new.
That's fun to have. Nothing like running through a stage invincible and just taking out every enemy that you run into, especially ones that you normally can't really take out. So that's a fun one.
It is. It is. You get your animal barrels, which
Yes.
are new, which you turn into the animal, so that's different.
Yes. Unlike in the other one the first one where you'd be riding the animals, and this one you actually get to become the animal.
Yes.
And you get to take the helm that way.
Yes, you do. And then you get your biplane barrel, which is just Funky Kong. So
yes.
he'll send you there. Let's talk about the animal friends now.
Let's do it. So we have most of our animals, or a lot of our animals, at least coming back from the first one. There are people who sadly did not come along for the ride.
Yes.
Espresso, everyone's favorite ostrich
with the sneakers.
Yes, in his high tops. He sadly did not come into this game. So he's gone, sadly.
Yep.
But we had some new faces and, of course, some returning favorites like Rambi the Rhinoceros. He's back.
Yes. Rambi the Rhino, my favorite from the first game. He's even better in this one because he got the move.
Yep.
This powerful rhinoceros loves to charge. Press and hold the Y button to make him run. He will use his horn to butt everything out of his path. Very fun move to do.
Yes, you can take tons of stuff out. You can break through those hidden areas where there's those hidden doors. And there's just nothing. It's one of the most satisfying things in the game to just go nuts and just take things out left and right with him.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he's a classic and often a favorite.
Yes, he is. So then your second one is Engard the Swordfish, who's back again.
Yes.
Engard adds invaluable assistance in aquatic settings. While riding Engard, you don't need to press the B button to swim. If you press the Y button, Engard will dash forward and use his sharp bill to knock out enemies. Much like Rambi,
Yes.
he also has a charge attack if you hold down Y.
Which is really cool. It can take stuff out. It can also get you into some secret areas.
Yes.
So, yeah, Engard's... He's a good
back.
guy.
He is.
I'm a
He
fan.
really is. And then the third returning one is Squawks the Parrot, who was very useless in the first one.
Yes.
All he did was hold the flashlight, if I remember correctly. He comes back a lot better.
And a
he's got
lot
some moves.
more often. Yeah,
Yes.
you see him a lot more. He can actually shoot. I don't know if it's supposed to be nuts or eggs or coconuts or whatever
Yeah.
he's shooting from his beak.
Something.
But he's really useful in that regard.
Yes, Squawks' role in Diddy's new adventure is much more important. Rather than just carrying a flashlight, he can now lift both Diddy and Dixie for high-flying adventures. Squawks can also spit eggs at enemies if you
they are
press the
eggs.
Y button. So, that's it. So let's get to the new ones.
Absolutely. Let's get to the new crew.
Let's start with the first one, Ratley the Rattlesnake.
Yes, and I actually forgot to mention that one character that didn't make it to this one was Winky the Frog.
Yes, Winky didn't make it, unfortunately.
So I think Ratley's kind of similar to Winky in a lot of ways in that he can jump really high. But he is, well, a rattlesnake.
Yes.
As the name might suggest. He can kind of coil up, and if you hold the button, and then he'll release that jumping button, and he'll go flying nice and high. So he's pretty cool. What do you think about our good friend Ratley?
Well, Ratley the Rattlesnake, rebelling against the Kremlings who infest the island. Ratley offers his high jumping ability to help the Kongs. He can jump much higher than the Kongs, courtesy of his springy tail.
That's right.
So, yeah, I like Ratley. He's
Yeah.
cool. I think I actually liked him a little better than Winky.
Yeah.
I think I did, because I know he seemed easier to use for whatever
It was
reason.
easier to kind of gauge where you needed to land with him. Winky was had just giant feet, giant webbed feet, as a frog might have.
Yes.
But was a little trickier on some of those narrow jumps. I feel like Rattly is a little bit easier to know where you're landing to make some of those, make those jumps a little bit more precise.
Yes. Then you get the second new animal friend, Squitter the Spider.
Ah, yes, he's a lot of fun, I have to say. I'll let you give the description there before I go off on my tangent.
Sure. The web-slinging spider Squitter is one of the coolest new animal friends. When you press the Y button, he spins webs that knock out enemies. He can also shoot web platforms that the pair can use to cross gaps in the terrain by pressing the R and A buttons. Interesting. I didn't know R could do that, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he's really cool. Squitter might be my favorite new one, honestly, because you have so much freedom with him. The way that he can shoot webs and actually steer the webs with the buttons can mean that you can hit enemies that are in kind of weird angles from where you are. And you can also send those different webs that you can actually jump on to get to different areas. So it really opens up a lot of the stage when you have him. He can't jump on enemies. If you do that, he will die. Yes. So his way of taking out enemies is using the webs. And I don't know, he's just a very methodical character, so you can go through areas at your own pace with him. Those webs that he does shoot out that you can jump on, they will go away on their own after a while, so you have to make sure you're paying attention to how long you've had them out for. But you can always just put another one out and just keep moving with him. So yeah, I think he's probably one of my faves.
And the one thing I noticed too is if the longer you hold A, the longer the web will last. So if you do a shorter one, I think it goes away quicker. But I'm not positive on that. I have to try that out. But at least that's what I thought that's what it seemed like. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is probably the most useless animal in this one. Glimmer the anglerfish.
Yes. So he's what Squawky was in the last one, basically.
Pretty much.
Underwater.
Yep. Glimmer lives in one of the sunken Kremlin galleons near Kremquay. He'll offer his light to show the Kongs the way through one of the darkened underwater levels.
Yes.
So not really much to say about him.
No, he's an anglerfish, so he has that little antenna with the thing on there. And I mean, you turn, like the light goes quickly to one side or the other. So it can be a little disorienting if you're turning your character around a lot. But like you said, there's really not too much to him.
And then finally, we got Clapper the Seal.
Ah, yes. I feel like we saw Clapper more than we did. Apparently he's only in a couple of stages. Lava Lagoon and Clapper's Cavern. But he does get his own stage. Which is
sweet. That is cool.
But yeah, our good seal that helps cool down areas and lets you get where you need to get.
Yes, Clapper the Seal. Most seals can't change boiling hot water to room temperature or turn water to ice, but Clapper can. Jump on him and it'll perform his valuable service for you.
Yes.
Cranky Kong has a little comment here. A more tragic-looking bunch of useless no-hoppers you'll never see. I liked Espresso and Winky. Where have they gone?
I don't know. I just don't know, Cranky. I just don't know.
Yeah.
We missed those guys.
It's too bad. All right, so those are your animal friends. Very interesting. I think I agree with you that Squitter is probably the coolest one out of the bunch.
Yeah.
So, the Kongs in this game. So Funky Kong is back.
Yes. He's pretty much does what he did in the last one.
He will charge you, though, to use his plane. So
I guess they must have been in a Donkey Kong recession or something.
Right.
So they had to start
making some money.
That's right.
So the second one is Swanky. So
yes.
He's a game show host. So this is new. You get to go to Worlds and he'll ask you trivia questions, and there'll be 3 levels on that level. So
you don't have to pay for them, but you can only go through each one a certain amount of time. Or basically, once you get one level correct, you get some 1-ups, and you can go through each of those different levels. Once you get them, you're good. But it's nice because you can really stock up on lives right in a row. Plus, it's just fun to test your knowledge.
Yes, I agree. It was fun, and you get extra lives, so why not?
Yeah.
Wrinkly, who is the college Wrinkly Kong. She's not. So I don't know what happened to Candy.
Yeah, I'm a little.
Doesn't really say
confused,
much. What happened to Candy, at least. But Wrinkly Kong is where you are going to save your game. But she also gives advice too.
She does.
But you do have to pay for everything.
Yeah. Wrinkly is really running a business there.
Right.
Her college is a for-profit institution, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'll give you hints about stages and things like that. Just have to pay her coins. And of course, like you said, the most important thing of all is she's how you save the game.
Yeah, yep. You have to use her a lot, and you're gonna have to get banana coins a lot. So, Cranky, he's pretty much back to his same ways, but he is in a museum now.
Yes.
So,
and he has two, instead of just a cane, he has like a double set of canes.
yes. And you pay for his advice as well. So, similar to Wrinkly Kong in that way. And then you also get Clubba, who, that's how you're going to get to the Lost World. You got to pay him now.
Right.
So, unfortunately. So Cranky says, visit me first and give me all your coins. I'm far more useful than these other sad-looking bums. So, all right. Let's get to the bad guys. A lot of familiar faces, but let's give it to them. Clomp. This peg-leg Kremlin is a standard type you will encounter. So, yeah. Same, Kremlin, but he's got a peg leg.
Yeah.
So
he's pretty easy to take out. He moves relatively slowly, and I think the only way he can really hurt you is if he actually runs into you. So you cartwheel him or just jump onto him or whatever, and he's down for the count.
That's it. Yep. Clobber. This Kremlin hides in a barrel. When you get close, he pops out and tries to push you around. A lot of them in this game.
Yes. Yep. These guys are always annoying, especially if you're not expecting them to come, because they'll hit you from the back and knock you down, and some will knock coins out, so will knock banana coins. There's even ones later in the game that I believe will knock out lives of the gray ones.
Yes.
They're frustrating.
The banana ones are, they're annoying, but the gray ones are the worst.
Yeah.
Neek. Named for the annoying little squeaking sounds they make, these bilge rats infest every corner of Crocodile Isle. Check out their cool rendered fur.
Who doesn't love cool rendered fur?
Right?
They're basically just the rats that kind of squeak around. You jump on them or whatever, and you take them out. But sometimes they can come in bunches, and that can make it. You gotta pay attention.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're kind of like the hamster from last level or whatever.
The naughties. Yes. Yeah, I wonder whatever happened to the naughties.
I know. Maybe they'll be back.
They were good guys.
They were. Then you get Kaboing. This Kremlin bounces around on two spring-loaded peg legs. So.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're nothing too much.
No.
You get your Cruncha. Muscle-bound and muscle-headed Cruncha is impervious to Diddy and Dixie's attack. They only make him mad. So,
yes.
He's back.
So either come at him with some kind of a barrel or a cannonball, or get out of the way.
Yes, or just try to avoid them, whatever you can do.
Absolutely.
Cannon. It looks like Clump can shoot.
Yes.
So that's basically what it is. Clump with a cannon.
Yeah.
And he'll fire at you.
So you just kind of avoid those as necessary.
Zinger. The bugs are back. Zingers return to endlessly buzz about and course the Kongs all kinds of problems.
Zingers. Yeah. Zingers are annoying as always. Yellow ones you can take out with stuff, but there's also the red ones which are impervious to everything. So, they're annoying like they were before, and you'll see a lot of them.
Yes. Flitter. Flitter hovers in many locations. Bouncing off these dragonflies is a useful means of reaching hidden areas, but be careful.
Yes, they're the dragonfly-looking guys, I believe, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. You'll see them mostly in the swamp and a few other areas.
You can jump on them and take them out that way.
Yep.
Or use their extra height to sometimes jump off of them onto something higher up, too. So it gives you options.
Clubba. His club should give you a clue about what might happen if you try to cross his bridge without paying the toll.
Yes. You got to pay the toll. You got to give him those Kremlin coins, and he'll get you to your lost levels.
That's right. Yes. You gotta pay him.
I think it's funny that the game gives you the option to quote unquote fight him, and then he just knocks you off.
Right.
With his club. So, you can't actually beat him.
Shuri. Shuri spins around underwater trying to skewer careless swimmers with its pointy little arms.
Oh, the starfish guy.
Starfish, yes.
Yeah. Twirls, comes at you. Usually not too hard to avoid, and if you've got on guard, you can take them out pretty quickly.
That's it. Yes, that's what you want there.
Yeah.
Lockjaw. This fat-lipped piranha will try to bite anyone who swims too close.
I do not care for Lockjaw.
I think the thing about Lockjaw in this game is they put him in very tight areas, so you can't avoid him sometimes.
And
if you don't have Vanguard, it's really a pain in the butt.
Yeah,
so
they're very persistent.
Yep.
So sometimes you'll see them and it's easy to panic, and they'll just take a bite right out of your keister. So so they can be frustrating.
Flotsam. Flotsam is a stingray that cruises ceaselessly back and forth.
Yeah,
so
these aren't too bad. Again, if you don't have On Guard, you have to avoid them because you can't attack somebody in the water unless you have On Guard. But if you have On Guard, you can take these guys out very easily.
They're slow, too. They don't do too much.
No, they just, if you're not paying attention, you might run into one.
Kind of what the fish were in the first game, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Click Clack. If you flip this beetle on its back, you can carry it around and use it as a weapon. So they're a little annoying, though, because
they're
almost like the armadillo in a way from the first game.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you jump on them, they can bounce back. Like, make you bounce back.
Yeah. There's definitely been more times than I'd care to admit that I've bounced off when I've fallen right off the stage into a pit and died. So, yeah, they can be annoying. You can take them out. You can pick them up. You can, when you jump on them and throw them at something else. But a lot of times, I'm more of just like, get right past them. Just avoid them if you can. But if you have to take them out, just...
Yeah, and I didn't really use them as a weapon too many times. No. A couple times.
It would be, it was more of just
very sparingly
in the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool, though, I guess, if you want to. Klinger, look out below. Klinger climbs around the rigging, ready to slide down on anyone below him.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, pirate-looking ones that climb up ropes and jump down when you're there trying to hit you.
Yep.
They don't really do too much. Other than that, just pay attention, and you should be fine with those
Should be
guys.
good.
Yeah.
Right. Cackle and Cloak. These ghostly Kremlin spirits haunt many locations on Crocodile Isle.
Cloak, I remember a little bit better. Well, Cackle's the one that chases you around like the dead giant spirit
He's only
guy.
in one level, I believe.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
The Haunted Hall level, I believe.
Cloak, you'll see a lot more. He's usually just throwing...
crates and stuff.
He'll throw crates, barrels, and even enemies sometimes. So
he'll throw the bees,
and he laughs at you.
Yeah, he's a real he's a real douche about it.
He really is. He really is. Cat o' Nine Tails. This is another interesting new enemy.
Yes.
This crazy cat is whirling dervish. It will tangle you up in its many tails and spin you around until it collapses.
These ones can be very frustrating until you realize what their pattern is. You have to go back and forth a certain amount of times, and then they'll get dizzy, and you can jump on their heads then. Sometimes it's honestly just worth it just to run past them when you can. But if they get you and they swirl you around and throw you, they can either sometimes throw you harmlessly to the side, or they can throw you off the stage or into things. So they can be annoying, especially if you're trying to get through an area quickly, because you really have to take your time with them to make sure that you're doing the right things.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, and then if they put them in like tight spots, that's the worst. So you really just want to try to just make them dizzy and then jump on him. So
exactly.
Away. All right, next one is Puffed Up. Slowly but steadily, Puffed Up rises from the depths, getting bigger and bigger as he puffs himself up. Watch out for his spines. The other thing you need to notice is Puffed Up doesn't always explode. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't.
I was going to say there's different versions even in between there. Mm-hmm. And if they do explode, you have those spikes coming at you in all different directions, and you want to make sure that you're not right in line taking one to the face.
Yeah. Croc Heads. The green heads make great stepping stones, and the brown heads are excellent springboards for reaching those high places.
Oh, mm-hmm.
So
they're ones that are just kind of sitting in the swamp and stuff that you can jump off of. They can be pretty darn useful to get you to higher areas. But yeah, I remember the first time I saw them, I'm like, can I actually jump on one of these, or is it just going to kill me?
Yeah, at first you just don't know what's going on with them, but yeah, you're kind of forced to.
Try it out and see, and then you know what happens.
Yeah. Next one is Spiny. Spiny may have a soft underside, but its quills will strike you if you get too close. And Spiny is just basically your porcupine.
Yeah.
He's kind of a tough enemy because if you don't do the cartwheel or the hairspin, you're going to get poked.
Exactly.
And you're going to lose.
Yes.
So
yeah. Don't jump on him.
Yeah, don't jump on him. Yeah. Another enemy they like to put in tight spots. But, Cutlass. Cutlass mail ordered his razor-sharp swords from a TV offer. They turned out to be a little bigger than they looked on his small screen. Excellent. Cutlass, there's like 2 different versions, yellow and green. They're both kind of annoying. So I died plenty of times from Cutlass. So.
Yeah, those big swords can be frustrating. And they'll sometimes get them stuck in the ground, and that's when usually, when they swing them at you, if they get them stuck in the ground, that's when you can jump on their heads to take them out. Otherwise, sometimes it's worth just trying to get around them.
Yes. Crook. Crook rockets his hooked hands at anything that comes near.
Oh, yes, this guy.
Yeah.
Another one that's annoying.
Yep.
They like to put them in areas where you have to go, like, jump, like, straight up a stage and things.
So you don't go too fast, or else you're going to run right into it.
Exactly.
Yep. That's they like to slow you down that way. And then Kaboom. The sly Kremlin loves explosive surprises. Watch out for TNT barrels. Kaboom may pop out just before you reach them. And then we got Captain K. Rool. The leader of the pack is back, and this time he's packing a blunderbuss. Ouch.
Yeah, he is a piece of work in this one.
So then Cranky's comments. How many? I reckon they've just put fancy pictures in here to make it look good. There's only 3 of these in the game, at most. Funny stuff from Cranky. He's a comedian.
That's right. He's the comic relief.
All right, so then let's get into the meat and potatoes, the dinner portion.
That's right, the meat and potatoes.
Yes. All right, so Crocodile Isle.
Yes.
As the home port of Captain K. Rool's cutthroat pirates, Crocodile Isle is teeming with all types of Kremlings. There's even more variety of terrain on this island than there was in Donkey Kong Country. And K. Rool definitely has the home turf advantage here.
Absolutely.
So let's start with Gangplank Galley.
Yes.
I'll read the description of Gangplank Galley. Galleon. It's weird. It says galley here, but then it says galleon down here. So I don't know. The instruction manual didn't do its spell checking.
They didn't check.
So anyways,
come on, Rare. What were you guys thinking?
All right. So Diddy's first action takes place aboard King K. Rool's scuttled flagship, Gangplank Galleon. Even though this hulk isn't seaworthy, it's still manned by a scurvy Kremlin crew. You'll find lots of hooks and rigging to climb on here. You can also duck into the flooded cargo hold for more fun.
For a good old time.
Good old time. So, Travis, why don't you go down the levels?
Sure. So, the first stage where everything starts is Pirate Panic. Now, this is the game that kind of helps you get your feet, get your footing. You're going through and seeing bananas, regular enemies. It's not a tough stage by any means, which you wouldn't expect it to be the first one.
Right.
It just kind of helps you get your feet wet and get a feel for the stage. I think there is even, I think Rambi actually might show up in this stage too.
He does.
Which is funny because in the first game, he shows up in the first level there too. So
yes,
kind of keeping the tradition going.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you think of that stage?
It was your standard one. They do introduce the double team move, I believe, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
They also introduced the new Rambi move really quickly.
Oh, yep. His supercharge.
Yep. There's a lot of ways to get extra lives. Not as much as Jungle Hijinks, but
sure.
Just real easy, nice stage to open up, and you get to see King K. Rool's letter.
Yes.
Kidnapped, so
he's talking smack.
Yes, exactly. So very easy level.
The second stage is Main Brace Mayhem, which is a stage where you're on kind of like a ship deck design and you're climbing up the ship itself. It's like foggy in the background. There's a lot of ropes to climb up. It's a kind of a cool stage, starting you right off the bat with something very different from the first stage. Again, not particularly difficult, but it just gives you a little more feel for the different aspects of the stages. In this case, ones where you have to do climbing and jumping from platform to platform. Mm-hmm. So, I had no complaints about that stage.
No, not really. The only thing is, it's just new concept. It could. I mean, you can see the clingers in there, I believe, the first time. So that may give you a little trouble. It shouldn't. If you beat Donkey Kong Country 1, which we really recommend you do before you play this one, this should be a breeze.
Yes. yeah, like you said, Donkey Kong Country 1 going through that first gives you a lot of those skills and feel for the game. So if you've gone through that, you'll be able to get through these stages without too much trouble. These first ones, at least.
Yeah.
Our third stage, the one that comes after that, is Gangplank Galley. So Gangplank Galley, which is interesting. It's another boat stage. So you're going through there, just basically running through, looking at different parts. It's kind of like a ship deck, and actually, like, some areas make it look a little bit of a shipwreck. There's some hooks you can use to jump around. That's kind of a little bit of a new concept for this one. But yeah, it's not a tough stage. It's just a lot of little enemies, kind of, again, just running through. And yeah,
similar to your first level,
right?
I believe there's one secret. There's a few secrets, obviously, in this one, but yeah, pretty standard. Just a little tougher than the first level, not by much.
Right. No, absolutely. Our fourth stage is the first underwater stage of the game, I believe. It's Lockjaw's Locker. So this is one where you kind of jump down and find yourself in the water. There's a lot of those water enemies are being introduced for the first time, including, of course, Lockjaw.
Yes.
It is his locker, after all.
Yes.
So going through the stage isn't too tricky once you get the feel for just how the swimming controls are. They're basically what they were in the first Donkey Kong Country. So again, if you played that first, it'll be easier to jump into it. The Lockjaws themselves can be annoying.
Yeah.
They are pretty persistent, and they will come flying at you.
Pretty quickly. Yeah. That's what makes the stage a little difficult. It definitely probably the toughest stage up to that point, I would say. Yeah,
I would agree.
But
when you're in the water, you don't have a lot of offense unless you can find on guard. So
it's a short stage, though.
That it is.
It's not too long. So
yeah. Then the last regular stage of the Gangplank Galleon is Topsail Trouble. So again, think of that second stage that we were in, the main middle stage. You're going to be jumping up a lot, climbing up. This stage is actually the first stage, I believe, where you get to meet.
You get Ratley.
You do, the Ratley, and he helps you jump over things and kind of work your way to the top.
Yes.
I didn't think this was too tough, and it's fun always getting a new animal companion and trying their skills out. So once you get a feel for him and remembering to use your jump appropriately with him, and you can take a lot of enemies out, and it goes pretty smoothly.
Yes. No, I didn't. It's not too bad. There's a lot of secrets, obviously, and you can get sidetracked a lot in this one.
Yeah.
But if you can use Radley really well, do it. It's nice to have. A lot of clingers, a lot of zingers, clingers and zingers,
Clingers and zingers.
But I didn't mind this stage too much. It's not too bad. So,
and once you beat that stage, you get to take on the first boss of the game, Crow, Krow. He's basically a giant necky.
Yes.
That wears a sweet pirate hat and picks eggs up and drops them around. He's actually not... he's different. When you played the first boss, or the first game, I should say, the bosses in there, they all had a very kind of a simple pattern to them, and you jump on them and usually hit them like 3 or 4 times and you beat them. In this game, I feel like it's different. I feel like the enemies can take more hits, and they also tend to have patterns with a little more variety to them. He's not that hard once you get a feel for what his routine is. You're basically avoiding the eggs that he jumps down or drops down, picking one up when you have the opportunity, and then smacking him with it.
Yes.
Rinse and repeat.
And then he kind of goes a little haywire after you got 2.
Yeah.
So he's just dropping eggs left and right.
Yeah.
So, you can do two approaches here. You can jump on top of the eggs to stop the momentum really quick.
Yeah.
Or you can just let the egg bounce until it stops on its own. Whatever you prefer here. It is a little different than the first game where it was a little more simple.
Yeah.
Now it's added a couple things with the bosses now. So
Yes,
they're a little tougher.
elements.
Definitely up the ante on that.
Yeah.
So.
And once you beat Crow, you get to the next level, world, whatever you like to call it.
Crocodile Cauldron.
Now, Crocodile Cauldron is interesting. It's has a lot of lava-based areas. You're in what looks like you're in a volcano or in a cave that has all kinds of stuff. Your first stage is Hothead Hop.
Yes, Crocodile Cauldron. Visitors venturing into Crocodile Isle receive a warm reception from the bubbling lava of Crocodile Cauldron. The key to these levels is to avoid getting burned in the ever-present red-hot lava. Fortunately, there are many different ways to keep your feet cool. Crocodile heads provide safe stepping stones in one area, and hot air balloons will give you a ride in another.
Yes, I think that's a great way of putting it.
Yes.
Lava is always going to be something that you're going to have to keep your eyes open
Yes.
for. The first stage in Hothead Hop, it's more straightforward, more linear. You don't have to worry about too many gimmicky things in it, but you do still have to make sure you're watching your jumps. You don't falling in the lava will kill your character off.
Yes.
So,
So there's some platforms that there's not a lot of room and there's enemies, so you just gotta make sure your jumps time them
Yeah.
well. So that's about it for that one.
Yeah, I thought the stage was not bad, and it was a fun introduction to the whole world there.
Mm-hmm.
Your next stage after good old Hothead Hop is, it goes by the name of Canyon's Claim. Now, this one is an actual, more of like a cave stage, so you don't really see as much of like the lava necessarily, contrary to what I just said a minute ago.
Right.
But this one has a lot of where you're ascending, so you're jumping into a lot of different barrels. They're going to hit you higher. You look like a cave with the look in the background. You can see like what looks like crystals and diamonds and
really
stuff.
cool graphics.
Yes.
Yep. Cool music.
I was just going to say, I think it might be my favorite song in the game. It's very catchy. So you're jumping up there. It's a lot of just ascending all the way to the top of the stage, avoiding things like zingers and other enemies. And it's just a very cool stage, but it's one of those stages too where you get high up, you can fall down all the way to where you started and have to climb up again.
Right.
So paying attention to what's around you and making sure you're timing your jumps out of barrels is very important.
Yes, and it's a stage where it's just get used to it and then you'll be fine basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
The next stage. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's a new concept, so you're just not used to much. The only thing I could really compare to the first game is probably Barrel Cannon Canyon. Right?
Oh, okay.
Similar stuff like that.
I got you.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Lava Lagoon is the third stage, and this one's fun because it combines a ship hold kind of design to it, but also has lava instead of water.
Yes.
So you have your good friend. You get to meet Clapper, our first time seeing him in the game. Clapper the seal, who's the one that you jump on. He'll spit out looks like ice, and will turn the horrible lava into, or boiling water, I guess I should say, into regular water that you can swim in for a while. So you'll see a bunch of clappers during the stage. You have to jump on them at different points to make sure that the water does not turn boiling hot, because if it is, it'll kill your characters.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're gonna be swimming pretty fast in this one because you're gonna want to get to your next spot before the water turns red. So you're gonna want to do this one kind of fast. It's a little trickier because you do run into some float sams and some lock jaws, which can make things a little tricky.
Yes.
And and sometimes when the water level rises, it can kind of throw you off. But I'd say it's not too bad of a level though.
Yeah, I thought that it was a fun kind of unique stage in that regard.
I think the toughest part is probably finding the secrets in this one. So
a lot of these stages in the game you'll end up coming back to later on to find those secrets.
Yeah, that's what we did. Just beat the level first, then worry about the secrets later. I think it's a good strategy there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The next stage in Crocodile Cauldron is Squawk's Shaft. So this is one where you actually again are going up in the stage, kind of like in the stage that is escaping me. Then Canyon's Claim, kind of similar in that you're going up. Squawk Shaft, named for our good pair of friends Squawks. It's a little bit tougher than the first, than that other one, than Canyon's Claim was. There's just more enemies and more areas that are easy to get in trouble and have to fly all the way down to the bottom and climb your way back up. But it's still a fun stage, and it's still got that sweet music.
Yes, it is. This one I believe has the rotating barrels too, which makes it a little different.
Right.
So, this one's a little tougher than the first cave stage that you're gonna see.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I should maybe say the Crystal Cave stage.
Yes. That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Yep.
So once you get through that, you end up taking on your second boss of the game, Cleaver. Definitely a unique idea. Cleaver.
Did we skip hot ride? Right?
Did we?
The hot air balloon one? Yeah, I didn't.
Red Hot Ride. Yes, we did.
Okay.
I'm sorry. This stage comes before before Squawk's Shaft. So let's rewind there. So yes, Red Hot Ride. That's the stage where you get to see hot air balloons on there.
Yes.
And that's very interesting. So there's a lot of lava and there's a lot of balloons, and you have to make sure that you are timing things properly and making sure that you are staying out of that lava.
yeah. I thought this level actually was the toughest one.
Yeah.
Maybe this one or the Squawk Shaft, maybe, but Red Hot Ride, like, you got to get used to the hot air balloons, how to control it, and then when to use the hot air to ascend up. Because you're going to have a lot of enemies. They're going to trick you, and so you just need to use all the skills that are provided. And sometimes you just want to get done with the level, and you make mistakes. So,
right, you try to speed up. And
I thought Red Hot Ride was a little tougher.
I would agree. Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Maybe that's why I forgot it. Maybe I was traumatized by it. But yeah, so then after that, you go to Squawk Shaft, and then you take on Cleaver in Cleaver's Kiln. Now, Cleaver is a giant sword, a giant, cutlass, that is a very unique boss.
Yes. Yes.
You have to basically wait for things to drop, cannonballs to drop that you can hit him with. But every time that you hit him, his pattern changes a little bit. And you have to jump on different hooks to try to get across the stage to try to get away from him until the cannonball can throw where you can hit him again. I believe you have to hit him
five
or six times before you can finally take the guy down.
Yeah, and some of his movements will throw you off. Like, there's one point where he corners you, and it's almost like, what do I do? Because he kind of like stalls, so you don't.
So it makes you want to try to jump over him right away, but if you do that, you're actually going to be in trouble because you won't be able to make it over him with that stall.
Yes, definitely probably the toughest boss to that point.
Absolutely.
From the first game included, not King K. Rool, but toughest, mainstay boss, I should say.
Yeah. He not only swipes at you, but he's also throwing fireballs at you at times. And,
yes.
Like a sword would.
Yep.
But yeah, if you can get past him, then you'll get to the third world, which is
the Creme Quay.
Creme Quay, yes.
Yet another Kremling galleon has sunk here in Creme Quay, once the port of Crocodile Isle, as if anyone would really want to visit. The place is now a swamp, crawling with rats and other vile vermin. Some of the underwater action here is particularly gloomy, so you'll need a friend with a light to show you the way.
Yes. So you start out with a Barrel Bayou. Which, again, by the stage, you might guess that it's kind of a swampy marshland kind of stage. Mm-hmm. I didn't think this one was bad. It was, again, the first stages in most worlds are kind of introducing you to the general concept of the stage.
Yes.
Yes. And so this one I thought was pretty straightforward. You're jumping, you're running, you're looking for hidden secrets like in other ones. But it's very fun. I like those kinds of stages when you can kind of just go and jump in and not feel like you have to rush through it. And I feel like this was a good stage that had a very relaxed kind of feel to it.
Yes, I didn't think it was too hard. There's some new... anytime you're with a new concept, it could be,
Yeah.
And this might be the one where you jump it on the lily... The I don't even know what it's called. The lily pad grass or whatever. I don't...
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting, though. It's not too hard, but the game definitely picks up the difficulty on this...
Yeah.
On this world, for sure.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You have Glimmer's Galleon follows this one, and you get to see the one appearance of our good friend, the anglerfish there. And he's there just to basically, like you said before, do what Squawks did in the first game.
Yep.
He'll let you see it light whichever direction you're facing, and if you turn the other way, he'll flip spots really quickly, which can be a little... disorienting because of how bright it is, especially if you're doing a lot of turns back and forth. The stage itself, not a ton to say about it other than that, is that you're making sure you're going the right spot and you're using the light to get you where you need to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really not much to say about it.
Right.
It's just the concept of the light. I think this level's pretty easy, actually. I don't think it's too hard. But just if you're turning quickly... the light doesn't always follow. So
Yeah.
this one, I don't know, didn't really have too much
Yeah.
trouble with this one.
I was just more like getting a little bit of a headache from the quick changes of the light back and forth
sure.
when I would turn too much.
Yeah.
But the stage itself now.
That I can see. Yeah.
Then you have the next stage is Crockhead Clamor, which again is similar to your first stage in this level, the Bayou one, in that you are getting a lot of, wetlands, those lily pad things to jump on, similar enemies. So it's a lot like the first stage in this world, but just a little bit more to it. I didn't think it was too much harder, just a little bit. It was another fun stage, I thought.
Yeah, I think this one was more difficult. I remember this one I was having more trouble. There's a sequence where you're jumping from the lily grass one to the other, and I think there was some zingers that kind of made it tough and whatnot. So
Sure.
I think you get more, just more stuff to mess with you.
Yeah.
So I think this stage was a little tougher for me.
I gotcha. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then next we have Rattle a Battle, which you might guess by the name. There is Rattly showing up in this one, our rattlesnake friend.
Yes.
This one is set on a ship, so kind of a ship deck stage again. And you get Rattly early on, and you get to use him to kind of get all over. It's a lot of fun jumping on all the enemies. There's a lot of stuff that you have to jump pretty high to get. So with Rattly there, you can do a super jump and pick up a lot of items.
Yeah, this one, probably the easiest stage. It's really easy, and you get a lot of... the secrets are very obvious in this one, and you get a lot of banana coins here, and extra lives. So good way to kind of refill up
exactly.
lives.
Sometimes you need that.
I thought this level was pretty simple.
Yeah.
So, pretty easy.
Yeah, the stage that follows that is Slime Climb, which is another one of these ship mass stages where you're climbing up, hence the name Slime Climb. Mm-hmm. This one is actually kind of a tougher stage because you have a lockjaw that follows you throughout the stage. Yeah. He's the one of the purple ones.
You make one mistake, you're done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the water is rising underneath, and then you have to make your way up. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he gets a chance, he'll come chomping right after you. So you have to avoid the normal stuff in the stage, your regular enemies, making sure you're making your jumps and climbing up the ropes, and then also making sure you're not taking too much time. Otherwise, Lockjaw will take a bite out of your booty there.
Yeah, he follows you the whole level. The water is rising. So there's some tough parts in that level for sure.
So I thought this was a tougher stage.
Yep.
The one that follows that is... Bramble Blast. So this is your first vine brambly stage. Mm-hmm. Now these stages are interesting and often tougher stages because of the way you have to use your barrels to make sure you don't hit any of the brambly vine areas with all the thorns sticking out. Mm-hmm. This is the first one of that kind of genre in this game, so it's the easiest, but it still makes you realize, okay, I have to be careful with what I'm doing, because if you hit any of those brambles, you will lose a Kong, and it can be very frustrating.
Yes, it does. This one is easier, but it's not easy per se.
Right.
It's very unforgiving. It's tight squeezes, but you're in barrels in this one though. Yeah, at least so. Yeah.
The thing that's always tricky about these types of stages, especially later on, is that you'll find yourself having to deal with a lot of the zingers, a lot of the bee enemies, and sometimes you can get around them easily, and sometimes it's a timing issue, and that can be frustrating.
Yeah.
Once you get through that stage, you get to take on a different boss, one that looks very similar to Clubba. This is Kujil, who is a giant gray beefed up croc that has a giant club that he uses. So he's actually kind of a weird and very unique boss in that he jumps around the stage, swings his club, and you have to wait basically for the opportunity to him to drop a TNT barrel that you can use to hit him. He can do certain kinds of jumps where he actually can land and do kind of a quake effect, where if you are on the ground when he lands for some of his jumps, your character will be temporarily kind of stuck in place, which sometimes you can recover from in time, and other times you're sitting duck and he'll hit you. So you really definitely have to get a feel for what his routine is, and even then, making sure that you're keeping up on when you can hit him and when you need to keep moving.
The thing that kills you is like if you do not jump by the time he lands, you're just stunned for like 5 seconds, it seems. And when you get him halfway beat, he starts doing the slow jumps.
Yes.
And it's just, I had a lot of trouble with this guy. I really did. He's by far the toughest boss you're going to meet to that point. So
yeah,
I had a lot of trouble with him. I don't know. And it took me a while. So,
sure.
I mean, it took me probably a good 10 attempts to beat him. So
yeah, he's tough and
just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, tough and unique, I have to say. Once you get past our good friend Cudgel, you'll get to the Crazy Kremlin.
Yes. What do the Kremlins do for fun when they aren't making the Kong family's life miserable? They go to Crazy Kremlin,
of course,
the island amusement park. This area features roller coasters that are not only in extreme states of disrepair, they are also haunted.
Yes. Now this stage I really like the idea behind this level or world or whatnot. It sets a really cool feel. I like the amusement park, especially since it's like at night, so you have fireworks in the background in a lot of stages.
Yes.
It has some very unique stages too. But despite it being all amusement park and everything, your first stage is Hornet Hole, which is, I believe, the first stage of this game, where you're in like the beehive of like the zingers and you have the honey and things everywhere and all the honeycombs. It's kind of a cool theme to it. Again, you have to learn some of the themes that come in these stages. A lot of jumping on what looks like the honey to get around. It's areas where you can kind of stick in place and jump. Areas where you have to avoid a lot of things. So it's tricky at first when just getting the feel for the stage. And once you get the feel, it becomes a little more natural. But yeah, there's a lot of hidden areas in a lot of these kinds of stages. And I think Hornet Hole's a nice introduction to that type of level.
It is. And a lot of secrets are like high on the honey walls. So if you keep going from side to side or just keep jumping onto the honey, you'll find some secrets that way.
Yeah.
So not too bad of a level, just kind of getting used to the whole honeycomb concept level. That's kind of what that is. So not too hard.
Yeah. Once you get past that stage, you'll take on Target Terror, which is the first roller coaster stage of the game. I think kind of like reminds me of the mine carts, but in a more of a roller coaster feel to it, a theme park feel.
Yep.
So you're basically on this giant, what looks like a skull, which I'm not supposed to be like a rodent or just a regular skull, but you run around and you are going up and down the tracks. So what's kind of cool about this stage is that it goes at a good pace. It's quick, but you also get to enjoy a lot of jumping, run around. When you jump, the thing comes with you. And there's different kinds of barrels. There's barrels that have like a check mark on them that you want to hit so that they'll open up the gates coming up ahead. Because if you miss them and you run into the gates, you lose a Kong during that process.
And that's what makes this level way more, trickier than your normal mine carts.
Right.
There's not any real enemies coming at you, but it's just you got to hit your targets. And some of the drops and turns will make it a little harder to do that.
And you might get into the habit of jumping at each barrel you see, which can be a problem because sometimes there will be barrels that have a check mark, which you need to hit to open up the gate. And other times there will be an X barrel that the gate will already be open, and if you jump it, it'll close it. So it's kind of getting a feeling for that and being quick with your reflexes, but not just jumping until you realize what's coming up ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun stage. The next stage we have is Bramble Scramble. So this is our second of the viney type stages. The brambles with the with that stuff. It's again kind of a tricky stage because you're having to get used to a lot of the different enemies there. Zingers are very popular here. The mini neckies, which will sometimes come diving at you. Things like that, and of course making sure you're not hitting those pesky vines.
Bramble Scramble, when I was a kid, really frustrated me. When I played it now, it wasn't as bad as I remember it being when I was a kid. It took me a while to beat that level as a kid, though. I just remember it, but yeah, it's definitely trickier.
Yeah, whenever you see that you're going into like a brambly vine kind of stage, I think that it's the idea of it is more like intimidating than the actual levels are after a while. I mean, obviously some of them are still very tough, but
Sure.
The idea of it can sometimes be like, shit. Hey, we're going through all this now. But yeah. But once you get past that stage, you take on Rickety Race, which is your second roller coaster stage. And this one is kind of cool, too, because you are literally racing with different enemies. So there's different enemies that you have to actually pass up or jump on.
10 to be exact.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you are racing with them to get to the end of the stage. Mm-hmm. And if you can take all 10 out, you get a DK coin, which is a nice little prize.
It's all about picking where you're supposed to jump.
Yes.
That's the big thing. Like picking your spots, then you can pass the Kremlins pretty quick. But if not, you might have a little tougher time.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The clanks that are riding around and in front of you, they're different colors too, which is kind of, I don't know, just a little cosmetic feel to it that's pretty fun. It's a stage again where those pits are easy to jump into if you're so focused on the clinks in front of you. But if you're not focused on them, you won't get all the secrets either. So yeah, it's a fun stage, and just knowing your surroundings is important. The next stage after that is good old Mudhole Marsh. So this is more of a swampy type stage, more like what we would have seen in something like the Bayou area. But this one is a little bit trickier. You're dealing with a lot of the dragonfly enemies, and just making sure that you are paying attention to where they are, because some of those jumps, if you don't take them right, you'll fall right into the swamp, which will, of course, take out a Kong or two.
Yeah, this one's, I think this one's not too bad, but if I remember, it might be the hardest of the swamp levels.
I would think, yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah. I mean, without really looking at it,
Right.
Yep.
The next stage is Ramby Ramble, which you might not guess from by the name, but it's actually another stage inside a hive, the honeycomb stages. So you can get Ramby in this stage, and he is so much fun because you can be taking zingers out left and right, making jumps. I feel like most stages where you get Ramby and can actually use him for most of it makes it a lot easier of a stage. It makes it a lot more fun.
And you get them like halfway through this stage,
right,
which is kind of interesting. And the other thing is too, like one of the secrets is there's a big giant zinger that'll come through.
Oh,
and,
yes.
So you have to like do something with him to get the secret. So
yes,
it's interesting.
And making sure that you do not get killed by him in the process, which is sometimes easier said than done. You see a giant, King Zing flying around chasing you. Your first thing is, your thought is probably like, okay, get me out of this stage. Come on, let me keep moving. But you got to keep your head on your shoulders. Which is interesting that you have Ramby and King Zing in that first stage, because the boss that follows afterwards is King Zing and King Zing Sting. The game likes to rhyme. He is the boss of this level of our good old Crazy Kremlin, and a giant bee that you have to fight with Squawks. And he was tough, actually.
He's pretty tough. Yeah. He probably, I don't know, him or the boss from Kremkwe. I forgot his name, but they're both really tough. Yeah. The cool thing about this one though is you can, like, where you get Squawks, you can kind of camp out there for a while. Mm-hmm. But like once he turns into the smaller bees, then you got to get out of there and kind of beat him that way. But yeah, this boss is tough. He really is.
Yeah. So once you are able to take that guy down, you move on to Gloomy Gulch.
Yes, Gloomy Gulch. You are not out of the woods yet. In fact, you're just entering it when you get to Gloomy Gulch. This spooky area is also haunted by the evil Kremlin spirits known as Cloak and Cackle. Even the ropes that once provided a safe way to climb over obstacles are now ghostly and insubstantial.
Yes. That's one of the things that I think takes some getting used to. Ghostly Grove is the first stage in this game, or on this level. And one of the things that you notice pretty quickly with that is those disappearing ropes.
Yep.
So they come back, they look like ghosts, kind of like elongated ghosts, almost like a worm or something.
Yeah.
So you have to time the points where you want to be on those, because sometimes you have to jump from a bunch in a row to kind of get to different areas. And if you don't do it right, you might fall down and have to restart your jumping, or you might fall to your death. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the big things about this stage, is just getting used to that new aspect to it.
Correct. It's not too hard, but you got to get used to it. It might take you a couple tries to get used to it. So,
The second stage of Gloomy Gulch is Crazy Coaster, which you might have guessed by the name, a coaster stage. Trying to remember a lot of the stage specifically.
Crazy Coaster, isn't that called Haunted Hall?
Haunted
Or maybe
Hall.
not. Maybe I'm getting ahead of us.
Let's take a look
I
here.
thought it was more than. Maybe there's 2 roller coasters in this. There could be 2 roller coasters in this one. I'm thinking.
Let's see. So, Crazy Coaster. It was remastered as Crazy Coaster in the Game Boy Advance version. So that's the confusion. So it is
okay.
Haunted Hall in this one. Yes.
Okay.
But this is one where you get you're on like a roller coaster, like you were, and some of the other stages, but. The interesting thing is you have to deal with the ghost Cackle, which is a giant Kremlin ghost that follows you. So you need to stay away from them and keep ahead of him, which is easier said than done in some cases. So you'll see like these barrels that have plus signs on them that you want to hit because you have a timer that is going to be up on the top of the screen. And if you hit like any of the minuses, you'll lose time, where hitting the green will keep things moving. So if you runs out of time, the ghost will hit you and take out a Kong. And there's a couple different versions of Cackle the Ghost that you'll have to fight, have to try to stay away from.
Yeah.
So it can be tricky.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, it's just keeping the same theme with the roller coasters, is hitting something to add your time or minus your time.
Right.
Which it makes it interesting. I will say, though, if you're going for the 102%, these bonus levels are a pain in the butt.
Yes.
They are so hard to beat, especially the one where it blasts you off and it's like, oh. Yeah, but the bonus levels, they suck on this one. So
Yes.
I don't envy you if you're trying to get the 102%.
Yeah, it's a frustrating stage for that.
Yeah.
If you can get through the haunted halls, you'll end up in Gusty Glade. So that is another stage that is kind of fun in that it is a stage of getting used to the ropes and getting used to just different enemies. There's claptraps and all kinds of random stuff, but not a lot really stands out to me in this stage. To be completely
This
honest.
is where they implement the wind. So it's
now it stands out,
yes. It is actually kind of hard because you have to get used to the wind patterns.
Yes.
You
I'm
don't
with
want to
you.
go too fast. You don't want to go too slow at times.
Right.
So this is one that's trial and error, definitely.
Yeah, and because the wind can hit you from different directions, sometimes it's helping you jumping, and sometimes when you don't want it to, and sometimes it's fighting you jumping when you don't want it to.
Yep.
So yes, never mind. That is a stage that I do remember quite well. If you're able to get through all that fun, you get to go to Parrot Shoot Panic, which is another honeycomb beehive stage. This one, you might have guessed by the name, has Squawkers, our good friend, Squawks rather, in there that works with you. He's always fun to have when you get him because you can take out a lot of those annoying enemies, zingers and the porcupine enemies and all that stuff. But it is a stage that can be tough too.
It can put you in tight spots.
Exactly.
I think is what the real problem is. You just got to be good with the parrot, and
you got to get a feel for those controls.
Yeah, not super hard, but to find the bonuses is not terrible either, but a little tricky at points.
Yeah, it can be a little tedious sometimes trying to figure out where they are.
Right.
If you get through the Parachute Panic, you're going to go to Webb Woods, which is a kind of a gloomy, foggy area, outdoors area. I remember actually kind of liking the stage. I'm trying to think. Do you get our good friend the spider? in
You
this
do.
one? Okay,
You do.
From the name, I kind of thought we did, but
Yes.
I'm trying to remember.
He's very fun to use in this level because it's like you really got to use all the tricks of the trade of him. And even to get to the bonus levels, it's very odd. You have to have like the cannon guy go through the door, and you have to do a lot of weird things in this level where you have to have the enemies break open the doors for you. So,
Right.
But yeah, if you like using Squitter, I believe that's his name, you're gonna love this level because it's fun. You use the spider to the best of your ability.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's good. Like I said, he's probably my favorite of the companions. Maybe Rambi, but of the new ones, he's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, and if you're not good with the spider, it's gonna be a hard level for you.
It takes a while to get comfortable with him. But
Exactly. Once you do, though.
Yeah.
But no, it's fun. It's a fun level.
So if you're, once you're able to get through that stage, you get a little bit of a blast from the past in that you have to take on somebody called Creepy Crow. Now, if you've been paying attention, you might remember that the boss of the first stage, or the first world, was regular Crow. Well, this is apparently Creepy Crow, basically a ghostly version of Crow.
Yep.
He was an interesting enemy to fight, because not only is he a ghost, but he's also throwing, like, ghosts, like, mini neckies out at you, too.
Yeah.
So, again, there's eggs that you have to get, and you have to do kind of all this different stuff just trying to stay alive.
Yeah, you can jump on the platforms on
Yes.
top. There's ones on left and right side. You jump on those to get the eggs, basically.
Yes.
I thought he was a little easier than the last two bosses you fought.
Oh, yeah. I would agree.
He's still challenging, but not anywhere to where the bee or the guy from the Kremquay was.
Yeah. And he was just kind of a fun little wacky boss. But yeah, so it wasn't awful. It took me several times before I finally had everything come together and took him out. But yeah,
Yes.
definitely not the hardest boss.
So then we go to K. Rule's Keep.
Yes.
Captain K. Rule is no fool. He saved the most dastardly traps for use in his own fortress lair. None has entered King K. Rule's Keep and lived to tell the tale. Will Diddy or Dixie be the first?
Well, the first stage in this lovely world, which is filled with a lot of interesting stages, is Arctic Abyss. Arctic Abyss is a combination of an icy and water level. So there's a lot of sliding and slipping, and this stage, you also get to deal with the fun stuff of water levels, like, the lockjaws and things like that. So this stage is tough. I had a lot of fun with it once I got a little more comfortable with it, but it is a tough stage.
Yeah.
Because any kind of time you're in a water stage, it makes you a lot less able to take enemies out, so it's a lot of avoiding and trying to find unguard and things like that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, this one, I mean, it's hard, but if you're good with water stages, I feel like you can get through this one, but there is some tight spots where lockjaws are going to be in. So this one, for me personally, I liked, because we're going to talk about the next couple that are, oh, God.
Yes.
Terrible, but yeah, I like this one, at least.
Yeah.
So
once you get through the Arctic Abyss, you have to take on Windy Well, which is another one of those, like, kind of cave mineral background stages where you're going all the way up. Now, this one combines that fun with also random gusts of wind and things like that, knocking you all over the place. This stage is very cool in design. I love the music, but this stage definitely made me want to scream curses into a pillow often.
Yeah, it's a very long stage. You have to do a lot of odd things when you're just floating in the air. You basically have to trust the wind to take you where you want to go.
Right.
And you can't go too fast because there's just ways that they'll slow you down.
Yeah, so there's enemies all over the place.
It is a hard level.
Yeah,
it really is.
And it's one of those where it's easy to fall from really high up in the stage, and if you, let's say you're lucky enough to survive the fall, then you sometimes find yourself right back where you started, having to climb all the way back up. So yeah, that's a stage that is cool in design, but yeah, can be very, very frustrating.
Yes.
Then you go, if you get through that stage, you go to, what is the name of this next one? It is... What is the name of this?
Clappers?
This is Castle Crush, I believe.
Oh, Castle Crush.
Yes, Castle Crush.
Okay.
Yes, so that's the one where you're kind of going up in the castle.
Yeah, the only stage that I can ever think of where it's just going straight up in a Donkey Kong Country. This stage, not terribly hard, but still enough to where you may need some extra runs. I think the harder part is trying to get the secrets in here.
Yes.
Than actually trying to beat just the stage. The stage isn't too bad.
No, and you kind of run at a good pace once you get comfortable with the feel of it. You get Rambi at some point in the stage.
You do, and I think you get Squawks at some point.
I think you're right. Yes.
So you get two animal friends in here.
So I actually really enjoyed that that stage a lot just for its variety. There are some areas where it was easy to get killed, but in most cases, there was just a lot of fun running with your animal buddies, with your animal homies.
Interesting level design, too.
Yeah, absolutely. After you get through that, you get to take on... sorry, 1 second here. You get to go on to what looks like Clapper's Cavern. So
Yes.
our good friend Clapper makes a return, everyone's favorite ice-breathing seal. Now this one's a little different in that, unlike in the first stage where we saw him when he was spitting stuff out, it was just cooling, boiling water. And this one he's actually icing over the water so that you can walk over it, which is pretty fun. And you need to watch out again for for lockjaws and enemies like that, because
they're all over in this level. And even like when you're on the ice, you're running into like a bunch of different enemies that some of the jumps. That's what makes this level a little more difficult. So
yes,
but definitely beatable though. Just may take you
easy
tries.
Yeah, it's easy to make little mistakes because of that ice.
Yes.
But if you get past that, you go to Chain Link Chamber. Now this is a tough stage.
Yeah,
and a long one.
It's long. It's lots of trial and error. Lots.
Yeah.
And if you're doing the bonuses, even more trial and error.
Absolutely.
So
you have to deal with so many zingers, and then the guys who come up and down, like on the chain links, the clingers, I think they're called. It's just a lot of trying to time things out, and when you go through it more and you're trying to get to certain areas, you can get frustrated and try to speed up, and can be your worst enemy.
Yes.
Because of all the enemies and things like that.
Now, not only that, I think the worst part is the bee maze on the chain link, where you have to like try to navigate it without, and while the bees are the zingers are moving, like
you'll
that
have them in different directions.
The part I struggle with the most, I think, but
it's a happy moment once you get past
it. It is.
But then you also have to face a different stage called Toxic Tower, which I know is one that gave you nightmares.
It did, and I'm just going to tell you right now, because you don't really deal with a stage like this in any other game or any other level before this. Hold down the B button.
Yes.
You have to. Don't think you have to press the B button every time you hit an enemy. That was my downfall, and I just kept doing it over and over and over. I think I probably spent about 3 hours total. It was like 2 nights. I know it was 2 nights. I had to go home because I couldn't beat it.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that, especially when you're in the heat of the moment, because you're trying to avoid rising toxic sludge coming up, acid that's following you as you go through the stage. You are rattling through the whole stage.
Yep, it's a time-based level. You got to go fast, and then you're rattly in the first half, but then I think
you're rattling through
you take over Squawks at some point, and even
Squitter.
Yes.
So I should say, you're rattly early on through the stage where you're trying to make these jumps. Trying to jump from platform, jumping off of zingers and all this stuff.
Yes,
and it's a long enough stage, too, where it can be
very long.
Yeah, just trying to get to the checkpoint.
If you get to the halfway point, make sure you got enough coins for Funky. Just load up on lives.
Yes.
Load up on lives. You don't want to redo that.
Yeah, that one can be that one is a pain.
It is.
But it's one where you feel a big accomplishment
when you beat it. Yeah, that might be one too where you want to get the secrets as you're beating it, because you don't want to go back and do it again. But yeah, I think if you're good with the jumping, that's half the battle. Once you get that, it gets a little easier. It's still hard, but
I would agree.
Yep.
If you are fortunate to get through Toxic Tower, you are getting close to the end of at least of the regular game, because you are going to be taking a stop at the Flying Croc. So K. Rool's Cape, that whole world is very challenging, but when you can finally get through that, you can go to the Flying Croc area. So you basically go through a little cutscene kind of thing.
Yes.
Basically showing, hey, look, it's Donkey Kong. He's comes down there and you celebrate because you think you freed him.
Yep.
But in your time of playing air guitar or whatever it was that you were doing at the moment, you see that the airship, the castle, flies off with him. So you didn't actually have Donkey Kong yet. Maybe you shouldn't have celebrated just yet.
You're right.
So you go to Stronghold Showdown, and that'll take you up to the last world of the game. Of the regular game, not the lost levels. So you are going now to the Flying Croc. And the Flying Croc is Captain K. Rool's giant airship. So it's kind of like his air base, where you go through there's 2 stages here, I believe.
Yes.
One is kind of unexpected. It is another Vine Brambly stage, which one is that called again? I should know this.
It's the one with the racing one.
Right.
It's something
Screech's.
Showdown?
Is it Screech's Sprint, I think?
Oh, it might be Screech's Sprint.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that one, you do some platforming early on, and then you're avoiding the brambles and the Cat-O Ninetails, who are a pain in the butt.
Yes, in tight spots
Yes.
here. In the vine levels. Just think of that combination. Yep.
And eventually, when you get through that first part, it's like, hey, great. But then you have to face what looks like Screech, which is kind of like, I don't know, a jerk version of, like a jerk counterpart to Squawks. So you have to actually race with them.
Yep.
With him, trying to beat him while avoiding all these thorns and avoiding zingers and all this stuff, trying to find secrets and trying to get there at the end. And it's very easy to get yourself killed. You really need to get a feel for the stage, get kind of lucky, and really have those controls down for Squawks, because you have to know how fast you can rise up, how quickly you can come down, without finding yourself running into the stage itself. This, honestly, is probably, of all the normal stages in the game, probably, I would say, the hardest.
It's definitely hard. I would still, I mean, you could put this one as the hardest normal stage, or, I'm still going to keep Toxic Tower there, but I could definitely agree, because you have to beat Screech, and
it's like two completely different stages, like wedged into one, and that's...
It is.
Annoying.
Yep.
Yeah. So it kind of depends on what your
strengths and weaknesses are.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So once you take him down, once you get Screech's Sprint on, then you take on the man himself, the son of a gun, King K. Rool.
And I'm going to tell you right now, he is way tougher in the second game than he ever was in the first game.
Yeah.
First game, he was not too bad considering.
Yeah, he's annoying because he has his fancy blunderbuss gun that he likes to shoot. Depending on what port you're in the cycle, he'll shoot cannonballs at you. He'll shoot spirits at you that do different things, and he'll even shoot barrels at you, which you actually can use against him. So he is a little bit of a pain in the butt.
You have to go through 4 sequences?
I think so.
In this one, and they're not easy.
They are not.
They are not easy.
It's a lot of dodging and a lot of trying to figure out when you need to jump. And the ghosts that he shoots out at different points too have different effects depending on the color of them. There's, I think, purple ones. I think there's blue.
Yes, red maybe.
Red,
even?
yeah. And some of them will make you like stop in position. Some will slow you down. Some will make all your controls like opposite.
Yes,
which is fun when you're trying to avoid all that stuff. And then the cannonballs will get knocked at you in different sequences. So it takes a lot of repetition, a lot of getting used to the routine, and then a lot of getting frustrated along the way until you can finally have it all come together.
It takes a ton of trial and error.
Yeah.
And you got to have some luck, Yes. Maybe just dodge something, unexpectedly and get some luck. But
that's the thing too, And sometimes you find out like the way that you were trying to dodge something wasn't the best way to do it, and you find that out like different times, and you find something that works. But it can be tough.
It can be, and basically after you beat him, you free Donkey Kong, and he knocks him down to the lake where sharks supposedly get him. But, and so I just want to do a quick thing here. When I was in 5th grade, or 6th grade, whenever I beat it, I thought this was the end of the game.
Sure,
I just thought the Lost World was like, okay, what is this? But no, it's not like that at all.
Right.
Like, the Lost World continues the story.
Yeah.
And you have to beat it. So I just want to do a little quick thing on the Lost World. Lost World. There are rumors of a lost world located deep beneath Crocodile Isle. It has been said that this is the source of the Kremlings and that there's valuable treasure to be found there, including the elusive true ending of the game. Interesting.
Yes.
Only the most clever explorers will find this place. So, if you want to beat all the worlds in Lost, or you want to beat all the levels in Lost World, you got to find the secrets. I'm sorry. That's the only way to do it.
I know.
Go visit all the Kongs to get the 102.
Absolutely. And you need to get all those crumb coins because you need to get all 75 of them to get to all the different parts of the Lost Worlds. So once you've beaten the game the first way, kind of the unsatisfactory, not real ending.
Yes.
You go back, and each of the worlds has a Lost World, I should say has a club kiosk that you can go through, give him the coins crumb coins that he wants, and it'll take you to one of those lost levels.
Except for Gangplank Galley. It starts in Crocodile Cauldron.
Oh,
That's
got
the
you.
first one where you'll get the Lost
Got
World.
you. Yep. Okay, yes.
Yep.
So these are all wacky stages. They're definitely tougher stages.
Yes.
Some of them more than others, but they all will give you different kinds of challenges.
They're definitely going to be the toughest levels mostly toughest levels in the game. First one's Jungle Jinx. I don't think this one's too hard, but it's got the tire, the big tire you can bounce off of. Goes kind of quick though. So I just say don't land on the spikes and use your Kongs to the best of their abilities.
Yeah,
Yep.
Absolutely. When you get past that, when you go to Black Ice Battle, now this one is, you might have guessed from the name, an Arctic kind of stage. And this one was a little goofy because, again, you're trying to deal with a lot of enemies, a lot of random enemies.
Yes.
A lot of dropping down in areas where there's enemies there and, just hoping that you don't land right on them and then trying to figure out the sequence to get through.
Yep.
And because it's icy, it makes it very easy to slide into enemies and things like that.
And they put a ton in there.
They do. They really stack them in there. So this one is definitely a difficult stage. It's not as tricky in concept, but it's definitely tricky in execution.
Yes.
If you get through that stage, which will take you to Clobber Carnage. Now, what do you think about Clobber Carnage?
This is the one. This is also in the jungle, I believe. Clobber Carnage is. It's hard. It's very hard. This is where they really ramp up the difficulty on the lost levels.
Yeah.
It takes you a while, and I believe it's either you have to get the DK coin at the end,
right,
or you have to get one of the bonus barrels at the end. I can't remember which, but it's very hard. You're just hang in there. It's tough to beat the level. It's tough to try to figure out the patterns of everything, but it's just they're hard.
Absolutely.
They're very hard.
If you can get through that one, you'll get to Fiery Furnace, which is another one that will.
Yep. This is the unforgiving one. This is the one
yeah.
where you have to make it to the end, and if you don't get that bonus DK coin, you have to basically just press start. You can't even press start and select. I don't think so.
Not until you've beaten it. No.
Yeah, not until you've beaten it. So it's
and we both did the same thing. We beat it, but without getting the bonus, and then we had to go through, and it took us forever to get the bonus.
Forever to beat it, and it's so hard just to begin with. And this is where you get the barrels that you can control.
Right.
Yeah. So there's just so many crazy things. It's very, very hard level.
Yeah, and very easy to fall to your death in the lava there.
Yep.
So if you can get through that, you'll get to the final of the lost levels, or I should say the final of the regular lost levels, Animal Antics. Now, Animal Antics is a funny stage because you get to play as all the different animal companions. And it starts out easy enough. You play as Rambi, you're running through, you're just killing everything. It's oh, this isn't bad.
Yes. Then
the next stage you switch it over into Ingard, and you're in one of those kind of ice cave stages with the water.
Yep.
That one's not too bad either.
No.
Then you get to the third one, which I believe you play as Squitter the Spider. This one itself isn't actually that bad. It's just tedious because Squitter, getting through, it's a vine-like level, so you have to kind of take your time. But then, of course, you get to a point where you switch into Squawks, and that is when it becomes such a pain in so many ways. Not only do you have to deal with the pain of trying to get through a tight spots, but you also have to deal with the wind.
Yeah.
Because they figure, let's throw that in there.
Yes, let's throw that in there with zingers all over the place, too.
So that is the part that is so tough because you're trying to get through that. It's almost inevitable that you're gonna lose lives during this process or lose your bonuses. So making sure that you get the DK barrels, that you have the extra hit you can take is such a big deal, but it can go south so quickly. So
Yes.
again, you really have to know what's coming up. So there's a lot of trial and error,
Yep.
and you really have to feel confident with the controls of squawks because you're going to be having to be making a lot of small moves and then a lot of big moves.
Yes, small moves, like whenever the wind turns, like sometimes it's better to not use the D-pad.
Right.
And then sometimes it is better to use it more often because you're going against the wind or you're going with the wind while trying to still kill zingers without getting hit with the vines. So
that's like the hardest part by far of the stage is that. So
and the snake part I would say is the second hardest, which is kind of sucks because you can screw up so easily.
It is easy. Well. Again, that's a case. And the problem is because you're switching between animal, buddies so quickly, and each of them has such different controls from the one before, that sometimes you can switch to one and, be so caught up in what you were doing with the other one that you might it might slip your mind exactly what to do, like especially once you're done with squawks and you switch over to Rattly, and you have to remember, okay, now hold the jump button when I jump off of something so that I can get that extra boost so I don't just fall right down into like a spike or into my death.
Right, right. It's a very painful level, definitely the hardest level of this game.
Yes, very time consuming.
It's very time consuming. I think I took 2 nights to beat it.
I think the worst thing too is that you not only do you have to get to that squawks part, but it's not like you start the game and then it's easier after that, or it's like right after something. It's like you have to go through certain parts to get there, and you have to go through every time you want to make an attempt at the squawks part. You have to go through the squitter part with the spider.
Yeah,
and that part's not hard really, but it's time consuming.
Right.
You have to put all these webs out. You have to jump on the web, keep making your way up.
Yep.
And then by the time you get to the squawks, like you'll have some runs where you get up there and you're like, okay, finally, and then you go through it and you get killed right away, and you're just are so pissed.
At least the DK coin's easy in that level. That's all I can really say.
That is true.
That's the only redeeming thing.
Yeah.
So it's easy to get that.
So if you can get through that,
good luck.
then you have to take on the final boss of the game. And it's Crocodile Core. And what Crocodile Core is, it's funny, this is where you really see it all come together.
Mm-hmm.
So you see King K. Rool, Captain King K. Rool jumps out of there. He's got like all his water because he's all from when he got knocked into the lagoon or whatever at the beginning of the regular part of the game. He has his little blunderbuss, and when he pushes up, like fish come flopping out of it, which is kind of funny. And now you have to deal with what he does, which is kind of a crazy, like, just... You only got to hit him once to beat him, but you have to wait through this whole thing he does. So he's jumping around, shooting crap, all kinds of things, and you have to avoid all that. Get a cannonball, put it in his blunderbuss the last time, and you can beat him that way, which definitely is a lot easier to say than to do.
Yeah, but compared to his first battle, it's way easier.
Oh, absolutely,
and it doesn't take too long. We beat it in one night. Pretty easily. We had time to spare.
Yeah.
And it took like 15 to 20 tries, but that's actually not that bad considering like 100 tries.
And the tries are quick. You don't have to go through as much of it because, again, you only can hit him once and then he's done.
Yep.
But he has just a lot of things. So he's shooting at a lot of different cannonballs again and a lot of different ghosts at you and in a certain pattern, and things are kind of quick. And it keeps going back and forth, and you just basically have to get that feel for it. You have your extra DK, you can jump over things, you can duck under some of the cannonballs when you need to, and you have to learn when do I need to jump. And once you realize that Dixie's hair twirl is so useful in this stage, it makes it so much easier to beat him.
So easy.
First, both you and I were really sticking with Diddy more because Diddy's he's quicker, he can jump more. But Dixie's hair twirl is like the unsung hero of that, and when you can get through there, stick that cannonball down his craw there, and win and get the best ending of the game.
Yes,
it's a good feeling.
It is, and once you beat him, basically the island starts shaking.
Yes,
and he somehow escapes on the pirate ship.
Yeah,
the island blows up basically.
Right,
and in the distance. Which could be Vine Valley. You see Donkey Kong, Diddy, and Dixie staring off as King K. Rool escapes again.
Yes.
Laughing. Yes. But that is the actual ending to the game. So you would have never known that unless you get 102% and beat the game. And remember to visit all the Kongs to get the 102%.
Yes. So, and it's a pretty sweet moment.
It is. It is. It's a really cool moment. And we finally got to see it. It was... I enjoyed
Absolutely.
it. Yep.
And for us, it was a thing where we would get together and play this in like the quote unquote competitive mode, where we each would have you had the red ones, and then I had in this one it was it purple? It was purple, yeah, because in the first game it was pink, which I thought was strange. Right. But so yeah, we had our ones, so we would go through at the same time. We'd be times where we'd be a couple stages apart, at times that we'd catch back up. Yep. So, but what we were doing is we would get together and play for several hours at a time. But because of the way that it was set up, it was working over many, many, many different nights, getting all the way through the game, which was a lot of fun.
It was.
But sometimes I know it'd be getting late. We're like, crap, we can't. We want to beat the stage so bad, but we got to come back a different time.
Come back and do it. Yep. Yep. It was very hard, but way harder than the first game. Yeah. Way harder, I'll say that. But absolutely more rewarding, though.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, just very, very fun game. So yeah. Let's break it down.
Let's break it down.
All right. Let's start with graphics.
Graphics. Now, this game is very similar in graphics, like in the idea behind it, to the first Donkey Kong Country, which makes sense. But it definitely takes things up. Things are a little crisper. You get a little more variety. So I would say I would give this, not only for classical, but that's the way it holds up, I would say that it does very well. I'm going to give it a B+ on graphics.
Nice.
I'm a big fan of the Super Nintendo kinds of graphics, and this took stuff to a whole nother level.
Yeah, I thought it was the first game kind of focused on more natural looking colors. This one looked at more of the brighter, flashier colors. It added so much, background to it. I'm gonna say the graphics for this game, they're just really phenomenal. I'm gonna say a 9.5, especially for the time it came out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Just timeless.
Yep.
Something you can play now and still really appreciate the graphics.
Still looks good. Yeah. Let's go with sound.
Sound is really good too.
Yep.
I love the sounds of the game. I love the way that it keeps the feel from the first one, but adds more to it as well. The music is amazing. That ambience kind of sound to it, but also bringing in the music. I don't know, it just really brings you into it. And my favorite stages, those
the Crystal Cavern.
Yes, those music's one of my favorite jams. Yep. I would have to say I'm going to give it a A-. Nice. It's just very good. I really enjoy the sounds and the music. Just great.
The sound, I'm going to give another 9. Okay. I'm going to give a 9. Not the greatest soundtrack I've ever heard, but it's very good for the Super Nintendo. Yeah. And my favorite one is actually the Grove level ones. I really enjoy that music. I dig that, but I also dig the Crystal Caverns as well. Even the Bramble ones is interesting.
Yeah.
I just enjoy the little sound effects, like the laughs you'll hear from Crackle or whatever his name is, and just the little things. I think they add so much to the game. But 9. I think the soundtrack's awesome, just like the first one was. Replayability.
Well, if you go through and wanted to get all the secrets, which is a big kind of replay thing,
yes.
I would say that it gives you a high level of replayability.
Yes.
It's a game that you can always come back and play through and have fun, even if you're just feeling like going back and trying some different stages out, trying different strategies. That being said, after we got through everything, I was happy and I'm ready to move on. With all things considered, I would say I'd give it probably about, I'd say I'd give it a B for replayability. I think that it gives you a lot of options to come back, but after you've beaten it, and if you've gotten the secrets, you're not going to be like, let's go back through all over again right now.
I could see maybe doing competitive mode if you were you were a speed runner and two speed runners face each other, see who's faster. Sure,
I gotcha.
But once you get the 102%, not really much to go back for. But
right,
I mean, the levels are enjoyable though.
Yeah.
So, I do like that aspect. I'll give it a 7.5.
Okay.
Because it's not something that you're gonna always go back towards.
Right.
But it is fun enough to go back to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the 102%, they'll make you busy. It'll keep
I was
going
to say, that's a big replay right there when you're trying to go through and figure out everything. If you play through the first time and then decide to come back later to go through all the seconds to get the real ending and the 102%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Storyline.
Just like in the other one, there's kind of just a very general story that... the instruction manual does a great job of actually telling you kind of what's going on and giving you a little bit of background. the story's pretty straightforward. You're saving Donkey Kong.
Yep.
You know, you don't want to give the King K. Rool the bananas, the banana horde. So you go in and try to save him. You get help along the way from Kongs and animal friends. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's not a lot to the storyline, but it's good for what it is. I think, especially when you think of these kinds of games, platforming games, there's not really a ton of storyline other than we're going to go save this person, we're going to go do this. So I'm going to give it a B minus. It's not like it's a great storyline, but it's also very good at what they're doing with it, and it adds some humor to it. Yes. So, you know, I'm not looking for super involved when it's not like a Star Wars level storyline.
No.
But yeah, I say a B minus.
I really enjoy it. It's simple. It cuts straight to the point, which I like, but they also added some cutscenes like at the end with the island blowing up and the first time you beat King K. Rool, but the second time you get that, you know, whole cutscene. I actually just loved it. I'm going to go 8.5 because it tells what it needs to tell. It's not going to blow your mind away, but for a platformer, maybe it's a little high, but I'm going to go 8.5. I think it works.
Yeah. I know what you mean. And I think the thing that it does a great job of telling the story through different things, not just like, you know, the words and everything, but also like when, like you said, when King K. Rool shows up again and he's like all covered in the water and shoots out, you know, the fish from his gun and everything. It tells you like the story of like, oh, he's not actually dead. Stuff like that.
What about difficulty?
Difficulty, oh my goodness. It's funny. This game definitely has a lot of difficulty to it. It's stuff that seems really hard at first doesn't seem as bad later on. Mm-hmm. And then when you think, okay, I've got this all down, then they throw another, something to hit you, a curveball. So I would say I'm going to give this game, as far as difficulty goes, probably a minus. And that it is difficult. Right. It's a game that, again, like a lot of different platformers, you have to learn patterns, you have to know what's going on. And it's so satisfying when you get things right. But it's one of the most difficult platforming games I've ever played, I have to say. And makes me wonder what Donkey Kong Country 3 is going to be like. Because it seems like every time they want to kind of raise the bar.
Again, it ramps up, yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to give it an A minus as far as it is pretty darn difficult.
Yes.
It can make you very frustrated, make you want to scream at some points. At other points, you're like, okay, I'm in the zone right now. Things are working out.
Yep.
But there's a lot of trial and error and a lot of frustration along the way.
I'm also going to give it a 9.5 because Animal Antics and Toxic Tower and, you know, King K. Rool, that makes the game just that difficult. Yeah. So 9.5 definitely. But it's still fun, and it makes, a lot of trial and error. But it's still not as bad to me as like some 80s platform games, So,
right. Well, it's no Battletoads, I'll say that.
Yes, exactly.
It's annoying, but it's rewarding along the way. This game is too. Mm-hmm. Like it's frustrating, but you enjoy it even when you're frustrated by it. If that makes any sense.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. That's what makes this game so good. So let's do overall.
Overall, I am going to give this game a minus. I think that it is a kind of a masterpiece of sorts. And it's a game that you will get a lot of play out of because you'll have to do so much repetition. It's a game that was ahead of its time, that took the things from a game that was already ahead of its time in Donkey Kong Country, the first one, and a little bit, after around a year later, it comes up and just ups the ante and really shows excellence. So I would highly recommend it to anybody. It's, I think, a must-have and a must-play.
Yeah. Do you have an overall score that you want to give it?
Yeah, A minus.
A minus, perfect. Oh, I'm sorry, I might have missed that.
Yes. Okay.
I think I gave the first game like a 9 or a 9.5. So I'm going to give this a 9.6.
Oh, okay, taking it up a notch.
Because like you said, it added on the first game, which was already great, but it did more right. Even with the loss of Donkey Kong and, having Dixie and Diddy, it was so fun, and it was more creepier levels, but they were fun and more roller coaster levels.
You got a lot of variety.
I
think that was something that was really nice too.
You did.
You didn't feel like you were doing the same stage over and over again with just like a different backsplash. You were getting different mechanics to stages, everything from your animal buddies to avoiding these different vines and taking roller coaster rides. And
the only thing I missed was the animal bonus levels. That was about it. That was about it. Because that was a way to get a lot of lives.
Absolutely.
But, 9.6, just great. I love the whole storyline, the cutscene. They added more cutscenes, which is really cool. So, 9.6. That's why I'm going to give it just a tad better than Donkey Kong Country, which was amazing in itself.
Absolutely.
Too. So,
and it makes you eager to see what the third installment of the series will have. So
and we'll definitely, that's one of the next games we're going to be starting, Donkey Kong Country 3. It's, great game. I can't wait to play it.
And I don't know that I've ever played Donkey Kong Country 3, so I'm pretty damn excited about it.
Have never played it. I've seen it.
Yes.
But I've never played it. Don't know what to expect. I think it's going to take us longer because of that.
Yes, absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see.
It'll be interesting to see what our friends at Rare came up with for that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So highly recommend you guys play Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 if you haven't before. You will get your money's worth.
Amazing games. And we're also doing Resident Evil.
Yes.
Yes. We need you to, to
get my butt in
to
motion.
get it going with the Resident Evil. But,
absolutely.
those are the next two games that you'll be hearing from the Retro Review Crew.
Absolutely.
So, anyways, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yes.
And we pretty much an average score of 9.3, pretty much. So, or 93%. So, whatever you want to score. That was our review of Donkey Kong Country 2. I'm Matt.
I'm Travis.
We'll see you later.
For the next Retro Review Crew.
Peace.
Bye.